Yo, good morning, y'all. What's happening? Shameen, man, coach. The break of dawn, getting it in. Alright, so I'm kind of focusing my candid minutes, the car videos on my Knicks reports. You know what I mean? So they're not dominating the headlines on the show every Wednesday. So if you want the most candid and straightforward Knicks reactions, check out the candid minutes. You're about to see it as a tab on the website page and everything. We're going to set that off today. All right. So the New York Knicks played 2 games this weekend. It was Knicksmas on Friday, and apparently it was Krampus last night because our wonderful fan base was privy to a less than stellar performance as a whole from our squad. Now, it wasn't necessarily a defensive debacle. What I will say, however, is so far the starting lineup of the heavy vet-laden jump-off, my issue there is offensive firepower. We haven't figured out who our quote-unquote star on the team is going to be yet as far as the play is concerned. And candidates are trying to force themselves into this little role. I know it's a little dark today. It's a little darker than normal this morning. Randall wants to be the star of the team. That's obvious. The thing is, I don't think he is. And I'm not so much yelling trade Randall. That's a little annoying. That honestly, fan base, that's annoying. But he was sold a bag of goods last year when he got his contract and came here that he was the main focal point. And he believes that he is. And I'm not sure that this coaching group or this front office has co-signed to that. But they haven't necessarily reeled him in either. So Randall needs to understand that more than likely it's not him as the star of this team. It's more than likely RJ. RJ is the future of our team. And so the offense kind of should be facilitated through him. And I think in the back of Randall's mind, he knows that. That's why the ball is sticking, like more so yesterday than it was on Friday. He's trying to impact the game and show his worth, but he's not doing it within the flow of the offense, and that's what draws the ire. Not necessarily just the spin move, it's the combination of things. RJ, it was clearly more confident yesterday than he was in the first game. And you can see that in his stat line as well. And that was good. That's good. That's a good thing. Eifert, I don't dislike Eifert. But Eifert doesn't always put the offense in the best position, and he doesn't always score. So when you've got Randall missing, you've got Eifert missing, we're missing firepower in that starting lineup. Now, Alex Burke didn't necessarily do as much in game 1, but he was important to us yesterday. He was very important to us in that game, and I like what I saw from him. Obi, didn't really get a chance to really get off in the offense yesterday. And again, this whole point guard thing is still in flux, but again, my whole thing is if we're looking for point guards, what are we looking for? Point guards that score or point guards that more facilitate, and play defense? Because to be perfectly honest, I feel like we have a facilitator and defensive point guard in Frank, and he has not been playing badly so far in either game. Dennis is still figuring things out. He just is. He's still figuring things out. And it's going to take a little bit of time. It's going to take more time, though, than 2 preseason games, guys, for any of this to work. And our resilience kind of needs to be a little bit stronger. Again, I went on Twitter this morning, and all the woe is me and the earth and the sky is falling and stuff. I mean, listen, we went from jubilation, joy, and ecstasy Saturday morning to sadness and hopelessness this morning. Like, dude, these are preseason games, first and foremost. Yes, our team is treating them as if they are real games, but number one, they don't count yet. So a loss ain't necessarily a loss. All of these things are teaching moments. There was no... Mark Berman made a good point about Obi. He said that he noticed Obi seemed a little bit tired, a little bit fatigued. And he was like, this is where he would have benefited from having a summer league, in a full training camp. And I agree. And, quickly and few of the others are going to actually be suffering, unfortunately, from that issue as well. We just don't really have a lot of time to work out the little kinks and stuff. So that's what these games are really, really for. So we got to accept that, y'all. You know what I mean? These games are scrimmages, for lack of a better. Practices. Live practices against, quality opponents. And for me, it's good to see where the struggles are going to come from, because at least this way we know and we can put into a plan an effective outcome. We could do the coaches staff could do something about this. I do feel like we need a person that is just there to give us guaranteed buckets. And we need to decide who that is as quickly as possible. Because Friday's game in the fourth quarter, all of a sudden, things got tight. Last night in the fourth quarter, things got tight again. We fought our way back last night. That's part of the part that I'm not really vibing from the fan base this morning, is the fact that, okay, we lost the game, but we were still in it at the end. And if you're still in games and you're losing them, one day you'll still be in games and you'll figure out what to do to win them. And we literally could have come back and won last night's game, and I think that's more important than being behind, or even, the loss itself. Is this team is a fighting team with a head coach that actually knows how to fight. We've been wanting to be a fighting team for the last few years, but unfortunately, and I'm no knock to Fizz and them, y'all just wasn't fighters in my opinion. Neither was Hornacek, neither was Rambis, neither was Fisher. Y'all wasn't fighters in your core. Tibbs is. And, outside of a 2-game bubble, where we are going to see that personality be what the team's personality is. You're going to see that more sooner than later. But right now is not a time, in my opinion, to be trading anybody. It's just another, they just got to get used to each other. And honestly, I don't think Randall is going to be doing those kind of Randall things in 2 months to a month. 2 weeks to a month, excuse me. If he is, then more than likely he will be gone, because that's not going to help us right now. You cannot ignore your teammates because you are hell-bent on scoring when there's easier open opportunities. You gotta hit the open opportunities. You just do. That's it. That's it. You just do. You know, Mitch had 5 fouls in the third quarter. That's old Mitch. That is old Mitch. And that's on Mitch. Why are you getting into foul trouble this early? Why? You know, you have to solve that problem, young man. You really got to figure that out. You know what I mean? Because you on the bench with all that skill and all that athleticism stuck on the bench because of foul trouble is not going to help us win games. We need you out there. You need to learn from Nerlens how not to get into foul trouble. You know what I mean? Or he'll be starting. And I'm fine with that, to be perfectly honest. Because our starting center can't be on the bench with 5 fouls in the third quarter. It can't happen. You know what I mean? Everybody need to calm down on Kevin and Dennis, though. Again, dude, it's just the second game of preseason with no real training camp. You know what I mean? Fatigue is going to be a factor. Folk are going to naturally go back into their old habits until the new habits have completely and utterly formed to wash over the old habits. You know, I mean, and again, that's not going to be resolved in preseason. You know, these things are going to be things that we're going to end up seeing throughout at least the first 2 months of the season. But I feel like we got a plan in place, or at least the people to put a plan in place to get these things resolved. And I'm glad we're seeing them now so that we can start ironing out and putting plans into place. But, you know, at the end of the day, it's just like Mike Breen and them said yesterday. You could do all the X's and O's you want to, but at the end of the day, folk got to hit the open shot. We missed a lot of open shots yesterday. You know, Bullock, who is normally extremely on point, missed a bunch of open shots yesterday. You know, I mean, it's not, see, he misses shots. We don't need him. Give Alec his minutes. Well, y'all stop being coaches. You'll drive yourself. You know what? Fan base will be a lot more calm if we stop being GMs and coaches every single game. Like, I mean, enjoy the game for the game, guys, without having to, IQ it yourselves and everything all the time. And we drive ourselves crazy. We are a very, very smart fan base, but I feel like sometimes that's to our detriment. We spend too much time analyzing as, fans than we do, just sitting back, drinking a beer, watching the game. Yeah. But I'm looking forward to Wednesday, and now we're playing Cleveland, so at least we get to see something different. And one thing, just to say this, guys, before I head on out of here. We played this team back-to-back. The first game, we smacked them in the mouth with our defense. Second game, they game planned for it. That's what we're going to face. You know, teams that game plan for it. They game plan for it in the second game. They got used to it. So what we got to do is say, okay, we're going to smack everybody in the face the first time we playing with our defense because they're not going to be used to what we bring. But when they play us again, it won't be a surprise anymore. They will be used to it. So how do we respond then? I'm looking forward to it. I'm not upset at what happened yesterday. It's growing pains. It's going to happen. You know what I mean? But if our biggest issue is finding scoring, I'm pretty sure we can find scoring. We can generate scoring with the guys we have, and that there's guys out there that can give us some scoring. But I'm not here to make any adjustments on the team until we get Austin back and we see what we look like as a whole 100%. All right, family, I do appreciate y'all. Big shouts to Knicks Fan TV. Big shouts to the Off the Ball Network. Big shouts to Jay Macri. Big shouts to Ian Begley and Mark Berman keeping us informed with everything. And most importantly, big shouts to the Knicks. You know what I mean? We're glad y'all back. And, we regardless, we might be mad, but we're still rooting for you and pulling for you every single time. It's your man, Coach Fa. Y'all have a great and safe Monday. Check us out this Wednesday at the Candid Corner. There's a new show out called For the Love of Jason, and we've got the producers of that show, Sade Ordinade and Deshaun Fair, coming on the show on Wednesday. So it's going to be really good. It's going to be a little different. Keep tuning in, keep supporting. We really appreciate you. Thank you guys for following me on Twitter at Fahim Insurance. Please check out the website, www.thecandidcorner.com, and we'll talk to you soon.